Town leaders are looking at a number of ways to address homelessness in Barnstable, and Town Council meets tomorrow night. We have details about what is on the agenda, plus an in-depth look at a new partnership with Cape Cod Community College. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Wednesday, February 26th, 2014. I'm Sarah Mannel. A group of town leaders are looking to other Bay State communities to find solutions for dealing with homelessness right here in Barnstable. Hyannis Main Street Business Improvement District Executive Director Elizabeth Werfbane says she's looking at a program that has made a big impact in Salem.
What I did was I looked at best practices. That's always the most, I think, expedient way to find, a new model. And I found that Salem had a model with their homeless issue of which they were finding success. And success is defined by, the feedback from their town mayor and their Chamber of Commerce person and their Main Street person. And they all said that since that shelter model came in, things have been better in the community, meaning the way the situation of the homeless is on the street. So I was really happy to see that, and I went up originally with the chief and then with a group of about 12 different town leaders, the civic and the shelter and the Duffy and the hospital and the just all different people who have an interest in seeing the shelter evolve.
Werfbane says by only providing for these individuals at night, it's putting them back into situations that they are trying to avoid.
It's really not a model that we want to keep, but we have to find something that works better. And altogether, I'm really encouraged. There's a group that is going towards that, and we're looking at a short-term solution and a long-term solution. And I think that following the best practices of how other towns evolve, into a better situation is good business.
Werfbane says the first steps will be to select a new model and then create a timeline.
Create a model, and then go for the funding from that. What is it we want? And I'm convinced that the funding is there because it's there for this model, so it will be there for something that the state even likes better, It's just a matter of everyone coming together. And I think when they do, and then they create, the new model and the new name and the new mission, I think the whole town will rally around it because I see people from all walks of life constantly asking me about the homeless issue we have. People are concerned. They want to see it get better.
To learn more about the Homeless Day program in Salem, you can visit lifebridgesalem.org. Barnstable Town Council meets this Thursday night. Cape Cod Commission Executive Director Paul Niedzwiecki will present an update on the 208 Water Quality Plan. In Old Business, Council will discuss an appropriation and loan order of $5 million for design and reconstruction of the East Ramp at the Barnstable Municipal Airport. Council will also discuss spending $125,000 in community preservation funds for open space off Lumbert Mill Road. In New Business, appointments to boards, committees, and commissions will be heard. The full agenda can be viewed online at town.barnstable.ma.us. The meeting takes place Thursday night at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall hearing room. Cape Cod Community College is teaming up with the nonprofit organization Water Defense on a project to monitor Cape waters in hopes of reducing pollution. Oscar-nominated actor Mark Ruffalo, who founded Water Defense, gave a presentation to a packed house at Cape Cod Community College Monday night. Joining Ruffalo was Water Defense Chief Scientist Scott Smith of Osterville, who discussed his OpFlex technology, which is used for water testing. Barnstable This Morning host Sarah Colvin had the chance to sit down with Ruffalo and his team to talk about the new initiative. We share a portion of that interview with you now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sarah Colvin, and I'm here with people from Water Defense. I've got Scott Smith, Executive Director, John Pratt, and Mark Ruffalo. Of course, you may look a little familiar, an Oscar-nominated actor. Mark, I want to start with you. Tell me a little bit about Water Defense, why you founded it, and what caused you to want to pay attention to these issues.
Well, it really came out of my work with the environmental movement in upstate New York, where they were going to engage in hydrofracking. The thing that motivated me to fight hydrofracking was actually going and visiting a community whose water had been affected. And it became very clear how much we take our clean water that comes out of our tap for granted, and how devastating it is for us when we lose it. And so I started looking around, and I saw that water was an issue that was going to be coming up big time. And I was seeing a lot of other communities that were fighting the same issues because of fossil fuel extraction, tar sands, mountaintop removal, to some extent deep sea drilling. And so I wanted to create a place for people to come, affected people to come and tell their stories. And I believe that water is a human right, and that clean water is a human right. And now it's extended to, I believe that knowing what is in our water should be a human right as well.
And so very important. And for us, those of us, here on Cape Cod, we're surrounded on three, almost four sides by water, and we have, sandy soil, a very single source aquifer, and so we're very concerned about the quality of our water. We may not have to deal with something like fracking here on Cape Cod. We do have to deal with things like emerging contaminants, like, all other sorts of issues here on the Cape.
You know your stuff, yes. And that's why we're here. I mean, you guys are basically the human body, or any living organism, a model for it. So, and all that stuff ends up here. You're basically downriver from the world.
Exactly, exactly. And so we have a lot of concerns. And Scott, of course, you are from here on Cape Cod, and talked to you several years ago about your product, OpFlex. And tell me a little bit about that product and how you've gotten connected with Water Defense.
Well, it's really evolved. The time we spoke, I was going back and forth with the Gulf. Mm-hmm. And spending time with the fishermen and living in the Gulf, I realized the way the government was doing the water testing, they were putting things on top of the surface for a split second. And I had two little kids at the time, now they're almost out of college, and I realized that here I am depending my family on I didn't understand anything about it, and I had this technical background. So after I decided to play around with submerging the technology, and realized that I could detect subsurface plumes in the Gulf, and I just started to continue to work. I had some scientists reach out to me from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, and then started working on these indicators in the water column. And I'm surprised that the water column is what's above the surface and beneath. It's what's beneath the surface and what's above the bottom. Right. Life is in the water column, and no one was testing the water column, and I couldn't believe it in the Gulf of Mexico. So I became obsessed with that. So I started to work on that, and lo and behold, there were other disasters. And Mayflower, Arkansas happened, where a diluted bitumen, otherwise known as tar sands oil, spilled. So it kind of evolved over time, and I couldn't believe there was no way to test for the cumulative effects of what's going on in the water column.
That's kind of staggering, because there's a lot going on in there, and it so much depends on it, whether it be marine life or human life.
It's so unbelievable. I'm hesitant to explain that. We have this advanced society. We have instant communication. We have extended lives, practically cured cancer, but we can't test our water with any new technology. It's mind-boggling.
So how did you get hooked up with Water Defense? Who found who in that situation?
Actually, John Pratt found me and then connected Mark. And I was in the middle of Mayflower, Arkansas, donating my time with this water column testing, trying to start my own nonprofit for water testing where this belongs. And had some news coverage and had some, police trying to remove us from public lands. And all of a sudden, John, this is a success story of using information technology and tweeting and Facebook, and combining with real world, because the people that work for me know it's more important to be face-to-face and to make things happen, but to truly combine technology, social media, with boots on the ground.
Exactly.
And that's how it all evolved. And,
To watch the entire interview, you can visit the Town of Barnstable's website and click on Video on Demand. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.